Yo, brothers be your like George. Ain't that funkin' kinda hard on you? I was hard when I started, gonna be hard when I get through. Oh, yo, yeah, I'm George Clinton and you're watching Welcome to the D. You're watching Welcome to the D.
You're watching Welcome to the D.
Welcome to the D!
We're here at the historic United Sound Studios in Detroit to interview George Clinton, funk legend and rock and roll Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I work hard. So listen up. Talk to me.
I don't have to look hard to say what I have to say. When I speak, stones move. When I work hard to play. In the blistering sun, I step right out. 'Cause what the fly man says is about to act out.
Yeah! Throw your hands up. We're about to blow your mind. Turn down for what? Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
Free your mind.
Free your mind.
And your ass will follow.
Right behind you.
Good old music
Will
soothe your soul. Jimmy's got some bitch in him, but that's alright. Put some junk in the trunk.
And shake your Detroit right. Sing it, man.
Boys and girls, class is in. Drop the top down and smell the wind. I'm right behind you with my fly trap open. Got my holsters on with my two guns smoking.
Hey, talk to me. Yeah.
Free your mind.
Free your mind, your ass will follow.
Good old music.
Will soothe your soul.
Jimmy's got some bitch in him.
But that's alright.
Put some junk in the trunk.
And shake your Detroit right. Yeah, and I'm George Clinton, and I approve this message.
Today on Welcome to the D, we're extremely proud to have funk legend and rock and roll Hall of Famer George Clinton on the show. George, welcome.
Good to be here. What's happening, man? How you doing?
Good, good. All right, so why don't we start by getting the Reader's Digest version of the George Clinton career to date?
To date, I've been defleed, de-ticked, and I got my rabies shot, and I'm ready to bury the bone. I'm just getting started.
So, even though you're not born in Detroit, what is it they brought you here?
Music. Good old funky music, yeah.
I mean, was it Motown or were you just...
Motown was funky. They was getting funky, and they was the first ones to do that real bottom neck bass funk. So yeah, we had that drew us out of here, and we took up roots and reincarnated ourselves here, recloned ourselves here. Still doing it.
So what year did you arrive in Detroit?
63, 62 we came here, auditioned and didn't make it. But we started writing with Golden World. And with the young lady, Pat Lewis, who is with me today. Yeah, we did a lot of sessions back, 62 and 3. 66 when Testify.
So, now, a lot of people don't know you were also writing and producing a lot of Detroit soul groups at the time. What were some of the groups you were working with?
I was working with the Dramatics. They used to call them the Bingo Boys. The Holidays, the Fantastic Four. Edwin Starr, J.J. Barnes, Darrell Banks, Pat Lewis, Teresa Lindsay. They call it Northern Soul now over in Europe.
So, when you got here, Parliament was a doo-wop group. So how did you go from doo-wop into almost like an acid funk kind of deal? Was there just too many people doing that kind of thing and you wanted to change it up, or how did that work out?
You hit the nail on the head when you said acid. Acid funk, we was on that acid. And that's bound to change everything, including yours.
Now you've had some iconic members in your band. Guys like Dennis Chambers, Bootsy Collins, Eddie Hazel,
Glenn Cohen, Maceo, Parker, Fred, Wesley.
I tell you what, I was in Vegas at a Santana show and I talked to Dennis Chambers. So I was talking to Dennis after the show, and you could tell he still has a lot of great feelings and memories with you guys, because the first thing he talked about, Parliament Funkadelic, and he said, is United Sound still in business, and kept asking me a bunch of questions about you guys, which was kind of great to hear.
Yeah, Dennis, last thing he played on was Atomic Dog right here, United Sound. His foot in Gary Cooper's snare, the combination of Atomic Dog. And Dennis was instrumental in that, yes. Skeet Curtis.
So you also, a lot of people don't know you produced the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Freaky Style, right in the studio, right?
Right in the studio. I'm thinking about that tonight. Hollywood, we mixed it right up in here. Oh yeah, that was a time to remember. All through United, they was running, couldn't keep them still.
So who was the craziest guy in the Chili Peppers? It looks like Flea, but I don't know, sometimes...
Well, they took turns. Anthony was on the wild when he was here. Hillel was reserved. But when you see him out in L.A., it would be Flea on the wild. He was real cool here. But not the last time, but quite a few times since I've seen him over the years, they're like Buddhist monks now. They're all totally the opposite of what they were. They was freaky styling back then.
So when you watch some guys play and all their crazy outfits and antics, does it make you proud that you're really the guy who influenced all that stuff with them?
I don't know. They was pretty crazy in the first place, but I'm glad that I worked with them and giving them confidence and staying power, and they gave me a reason to keep doing it.
So now in the 80s, you came out with some albums just under your name, not Parliament or Funkadelic. Was that for a particular reason, or was it some type of legal thing going on?
It's called planned obsolescence. Everything get obsolete at a certain point of time. It's psychologically we designed to look at it like that. So at that time, when it was time for Funkadelic and Parliament to become relics, and we were still around here doing it under my own name. That was Atomic Dog. The song was powerful enough that it could sustain, coming out for the first time under a new name, Atomic Dog. So even though that didn't appear to me that much, I did it like that. Then I did P-Funk All-Stars right after that.
I just heard Atomic Dog on a commercial the other day.
Yeah, it's been on quite a few Puppy Chows and quite a few commercials.
So now one of the coolest things about your bands was the crazy outfits. One guy with a diaper on and just all the crazy antics on stage, which was kind of unusual for an urban band at that time to come out with all the crazy stuff. What is it that inspired that? How'd you guys get started on that?
Acid. That's the excuse for all of that. We went totally nuts. After we came out here, that we wanted to be the Temptations. By the time we got a hit record at Testify, it was already too late. Motown had to make a change itself because the British invasion was coming over here, and they were playing rock and roll, and they had taken that and blues to the top of the chart. That was the new game in town. So we had to switch up just as we got a hit record. It was about flower power. So we had to make a turn and go that direction. So you got Testified, and after that you got good old funky music for my mother, Funkadelic. That's when I changed the whole thing and became a band as opposed to a singing group.
Well, you guys definitely, I mean, there was no mistaking you guys. You guys grabbed everybody's attention. Whether they listened to the music or not, they were going to check you guys out just because of what you guys were doing on stage.
And on Swinging Time here in Detroit, the TV show, we used to go in there with rings on our toes, you know, bracelets through our nose, whatever, you know, bongs 3 feet tall with 5 stems sticking out of it. I mean, we did that in 68, 69 on Swinging Time, the TV show. So that was the, you know, a doo-wop group going like that was like, no, definitely unheard of. Sly hadn't even showed up yet. You know, he came along a little later and made it a little easier than the Temps changed to Psychedelic Shack and started doing that. We influenced them. They influenced us up until that point. But we influenced them when we did War High Hay and good old music.
So I saw an interview with one of your band members, which I thought was hilarious. He was saying that you guys were all excited because you finally got some signing bonuses for a record label, and you said, wait a minute, don't spend that money. Let's buy a spaceship. So you bought the Mothership.
Well, all the band members that actually bought Sevilles, Jaguars, every one of them bought. We had at least 9 Sevilles in the group at the time, and a couple of Mercedes. Different people bought different vehicles. I didn't buy a car, I bought a spaceship. I'm still traveling on it, even though it's in the Smithsonian Museum right now.
Wait a minute. I think I see the mothership coming. Lord. I think I hear the mothership coming. Yeah. I think I see the mothership coming. Yeah. I think I see the mothership coming. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So then rap becomes huge. All of a sudden, Dr. Dre, Tupac, Ice Cube are sampling your music and borrowing stuff. I mean, how good did that make you feel just that you were still getting recognized?
But it made me feel real good on that tip. But it would have made me feel much better if the money wasn't being taken from those groups and those artists and not given to the writers, myself, and the writers in the band who wrote those songs. It would have been much better had we could have got some kind of, I don't know.
So they sampled your stuff, but you didn't get royalties on them?
They took the money from the artists. They took the money from them, but the publishing companies, Bridgeport Music, you know, Warner Chappell, they still holding that money. I'm fighting all those companies right now, Universal, Capitol, for that same money. You know, they still trying not to let go because it was so big. It was such a tremendous historical thing, all of the sampling. There's a whole generation, and they still trying to, you know, hold on to that money.
Well, I mean, your music is timeless, so it doesn't surprise me that so many people...
Oh, no, and so are we. We timeless. We not going anywhere. We here making new music, and in the meantime, we're going to get the money that's owed to us from the old music.
So one thing I love about your music are the crazy song titles. I mean, Jimmy's Got a Little Bitch in them, Free Your Mind and Your Ass Will Follow, Freaks Bearing Gifts, The Electric Spanking of War Babies. Kind of remind me of like Frank Zappa songs. Are these like from life experiences, or are you just like?
I guess it was some kind of porno story. Oh, I guess yeah, it sounds like some. I've seen a few things in life.
All right, so I know you got a million crazy stories. Why don't you give us a couple that we haven't heard before, that no one's heard you've been holding back on?
No, you got to wait and hear those in my book. I got a new book coming out.
Oh, nice. When's it hitting the shelves?
It's going to be in October. It's called Brothers Be Yo Like George. Ain't that fucking kind of hard on you? Yo, brothers be yo like George. Ain't that fucking kind of hard on you? That's the title of the book. And it's also have an album that's coming out with it called First You Gotta Shake the Gate. So if you get the book, half of the album come with the book for free. 33 songs.
Wow. That's like 3 albums.
Right.
So I wanted to tell you a funny story. A couple days ago, I was at the Soundboard in Detroit. Do you know Bill Bornstein? He used to book in Atlantic City at, I think it was Trump's he booked. One of the casinos he booked at in Atlantic City. He was telling me, I said we were recording this weekend. He said, I got a great funny story about George. He said he was playing in Atlantic City. He said one of the band members was getting arrested for child support. He says so there was a bunch of police at the gig, and there were, a big commotion. He said, the funny part, he said, George came up to me and said, you're not going to cancel a gig tonight, are you? I said, well, George, how important is that guy to your band? He said, what's his name again? I don't even know who that is.
No, that's them Hollywood, casino jokes. It didn't happen like that. He did get arrested, but and we definitely did the gig. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we said anything.
So now I have the DVD from your show, the Mothership Connection Live in Houston '76, which is just a killer show. I mean, that's a great show. What are some of your most memorable shows that you've done?
Well, like I said, that show and every show we did at the Summit, from '66, '7, '8, and '9. The Capitol Center in D.C. was like that. The Olympia here in Detroit, we landed the Mothership here, and there was a kid that ran up on the stage and climbed all the way up the ladder, and people didn't see him until he was up there with me. And he fell off the ladder down into the drums as the Mothership was landing. And people said they thought they saw me run up there and change clothes real quick up the ladder. But it actually was a kid that ran up the ladder. So that happened here at the Olympia Stadium.
Now you guys are just amazing live. I mean, what you guys do to that crowd is electric. What is it that set you guys so far apart from the rest?
P-phone. We got that, we got that doo-doo. We got that she's it.
So, now another thing that's amazing is you look at your discography. I mean, it's like you guys are putting out an album a minute. I mean, you look, it's just amazing that you put out that much, and you produced a bunch of stuff, and you collaborated with people, and toured. How the heck do you balance all this stuff?
Yeah, clone yourself. You can clone yourself. You have 2 or 3 you working on it at the same time.
So how proud were you when you guys were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I was real proud because we went in with some of our closest friends. We went in with the Jacksons, Mavis Staple, the Rascals, who we had known in the late 50s. It was made us very proud. I didn't realize that I was about that, But being inducted in that, yeah. And then doing it with the Chili Peppers. And then I inducted Sly Stone into the Hall of Fame. And having Prince induct us in there. You see a lot of your friends.
So what is it that made you guys, what was it about the vibe here at United Sound that really clicked with you guys?
The sound. This is that joint. It's the sound, and it had that sound before we got it. I mean, Motown did a lot of stuff here, so there was that sound that was already here probably the 50s or the 40s that, just you had heard in commercials and everything. It was that sound that's primal to the ear in the States. And we came here and we put it to good use. We just added some funk, some James Brown, by way of Bootsy, Fred, Maceo, and Catfish into some P-Funk, who was already doing into some of what Don Davis was doing there with the Johnny Taylor, we did the Disco Lady, stuff like that. So we was used to all of the music that was coming out of Detroit. And we mixed it all in with the funk. Motown being the dominant sound. But we used the Motown sound because they had basically moved on out into L.A. and had another sound with the corporation. It's left that sound for us to play with. And we did it.
That's right, that Motown sound changed when they got to the West Coast.
Yeah, it changed for them. And we took over what the United Sound was that sound prior to the studio they had. But still had that sound of Detroit in it.
I saw an interview with Verdine White and Bootsy Collins, and they were talking about the business side of music, how they're still somewhat uncomfortable with it. Because everyone's usually like such an artist that they hate to think about, well, unless they're getting paid. They hate when they lead a project to be doing the paying out and responsibility for everything else. Do you feel like that at all, or?
Well, it's hard to be in charge of that and work with record companies because they'll set you up to fail with the people you're working with. They're going to undercut you, and if you pissed off, you'll undercut the people under you, and it's a train reaction. Or they set you up to look like you was undercutting the people. So many games played, but the internet is going to bring a whole new game in town. So everybody's got to start all over. You have a chance to rewrite history if you can just watch out for the predatory,
And this business is known for that, that's for sure.
Oh, it's because you're so innocent, you want to be a star so bad, you go for anything in the beginning. So they take advantage of that. So that's the thing, you got the new kids got to learn how to be excited about it, but get paid too. And that'll become, I've got a feeling it's going to become part of the younger kids' repertoire, is to know something about the business. Because they play with computers all day. They'll figure out a way to find out numbers, which we couldn't find out how many numbers our records sold. We didn't have access to that.
Yeah, the internet definitely has changed the game,
Oh
that's
yeah,
for sure.
it's going to definitely change.
Especially for disclosure.
Right.
So after over half a century in the business, a prolific career, being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is it everything you've expected?
No, I ain't finished yet. I'm just getting started. I don't never want to catch up with happy and say I'm satisfied. I want to be right behind it. So that gives me somewhere to go tomorrow. I'm close enough. I'm doing all right, and then I'm still pursuing. I don't feel like I've done shit.
Well, so now let's talk about the Flashlight 2013 campaign. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, that's our attempt to shine light on all these things that we're talking about. The manipulation and the control of the backdrop of sound of your life. The sound is, the background sound to the music for the last 25, 30 years. That has been taken in a way that it's like taking something straight from the U.S. copyright, taking something directly, like it's part of the country, it's the history of the country, going in and changing history. That's what they're doing because they have access to the computer, and all these people have joined together, and music has become such a big commodity, especially since hip-hop. It has become so much money in it. They cannot give it back to the people that owns it. And right now, 2013 started the first 35 years that you could recapture your music. All of that music we did started with One Nation in the Groove, supposed to start coming back to us as of last year. Okay, they're fighting so hard not to give us some money. They've taken everybody in the band's money I mean, and they have BMI, and all the major record companies have gotten together because there were so many samples. We have to get together and have this campaign because they used a bankruptcy that was forged against me. Not even my own Social Security number. A forged Social Security number. They created a bankruptcy that allowed them to confiscate $500 million worth of music. And they're using it to get not only mine, but everybody that worked with me. So Flashlight 2013 designed to fight and show that. So what happened, just legal documents, public information that people don't know is available. Not only for us, but for all the other artists that's caught in that bind. Because right now, all that music is coming back to all those people from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. That music is getting ready to come back. And the record companies don't want to give it back. Publishing companies don't want to give it back. And the societies are not even helping.
Well, you know, I've always said it. I don't even understand how that they could take the rights of an item that's been written and created by somebody, their intellectual property, and claim it as their own.
They're trying to change the Constitution. I mean, see, we're going all the way to the Supreme Court. But they've gotten so much political power. It's just like the oil companies. They can't let this get out into the open that much music was just confiscated over the last 10 years. And it's brand new, so they haven't got it solidified yet. And we're here to make sure they don't get it solidified without people knowing that it's happening. Because all that money you see the artists making now, they're going to be in the same trouble in 5 years too. You talk about hip-hop got a billionaire. Dre's a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But you can bet your ass they're going to be tearing at his intellectual properties from everywhere.
Yeah, like I said, I don't get it, and I don't understand. Like, I remember the movie Searching for Sugar Man, when they went to that Motown guy, Clarence Savant, and they said, hey, you know, you've been collecting the royalties. Do you even know where Rodriguez is? And then he went straight into defense mode. And I don't know, like I said, it just makes you sick that you see these artists, they work so hard.
You're going to see so much more of it when my book come out. Because I had told it, all of it, as much as I could, much as the book would allow me. But all that I couldn't, I referred it to Flashlight 2013. Because that's where, like I said, the public knowledge papers are there. Not something that I said, but public information that's available that people don't know. And once you see, you think Searching for Sugar Man is deep. Wait till you read all the documents in the courts about Armand Baladian in Bridgeport Music right here in Detroit. When you think that's deep, wait till you see all of that, just the documents, like I said, from the court cases, or of conspiracy about my bankruptcy. And like I said, it don't even have my Social Security number. It's somebody else's Social Security number. I didn't even know that.
Well, I remember Mark Kassa, we did an interview with him, and he was talking about how he lost the rights to his music. And he said he even stood in front of the judge and said, these are my songs, I wrote them. Judge didn't want to hear it, out. And they did, like, they formed an LLC, and when he was out of the LLC, he lost the rights to his own songs that he wrote. Just a strange situation. Plus, they had already gotten nailed by Terry Knight, had ripped him off. And I mean, don't you think somebody should set up a program to start educating musicians so that they don't get hired in as a work for hire on their own album and things like that?
Oh, that's they just created that work for hire concept. So the new artists got to live with that. They got to fight hard not to put that in there. But it wasn't in our contracts, and they're going back and reforging the contracts and putting it in there. And they got enough political or, lawyers and judges, to take that. It's going to have to be a big scandal for it to come out. And that's what's going to happen once they realize that these people are out there in a conspiratorial way. I named my company I See Conspiracy because I wanted to show that I was hinting about this all the way back in 2008. 2007, I saw the conspiracy that was happening with us. And they thought hip hop was going to go away. That, you know, you could sweep it under the rug, I would die of overdose or something. I made it my business to get well for this reason, to fight them. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole thing for doing the book.
I'll tell you one thing, don't give up, because even though it's a tough fight, I had myself personally some trademarks that were infringed upon by possibly the biggest entertainment industry in Detroit, and its biggest LLC, and it's taken about 7 years now, but the federal judge finally did the right thing, because I didn't give up. They tried everything to swap me off, but it didn't work. That's why I'm telling you, don't give up. The guy who invented the intermittent wiper for cars, it took him till he passed away, and then he won. But guess what? His kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids now are all set.
I know the story, right?
George, thanks again for taking time out to hang with us, man. It is our honor to have you here.
Take care, man. I hope the record do good.
Thank you. Once again, that's George Clinton, which, by the way, is doing 2 tracks with Slight Return.
Roof.
Wow.